Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Jake Matthews to defeat Matthew Semmelsberger. And I'm here to talk about Tim Elliott versus Victor Altrimirano. Let me start at the top here by just saying I'm aware of all the horse shit. Tim Elliott, if you don't know, he's got a lot of horse shit going on. His wife, actually, he never married Gina Mazzani. Gina Mazzani, former UFC fighter, is a training partner of his, or was, or whatever. And he wanted to get married to her. They proposed to her, they got married, he thought, but apparently she never signed the marriage certificate, so it's all bullshit anyway. But they did have a wedding. They had a wedding, and on their wedding night, she fucked his teammate, Kevin Kroom. Another former UFC fighter, I think. I think he's done. But he was in the UFC last year. Anyway, they were all close and whatever, and she ended up cheating on him on the wedding night and well after that. And he found out recently, made it public, broke up with her. Unless they're still together, that'd be fucking funny. No, but he's done with her, and I just wanted you to know I'm aware of all this horse shit. I don't think it's going to factor into the fight, but I am aware of it. And I'm aware there's some people out there who think this is the X factor. I'm telling you, his state of mind. Either way. Tim Elliott, he is 38 years old. He's got a record of 18-12-1. He's giving up 1 inch of height and 3 inches of reach to 32-year-old Victor Altrimirano, who is 12-2 as a pro. Tim Elliott is frenetic energy personified. That's why he's my favorite flyweight, I think. I don't know. Don't hold me to that. But I love watching Tim Elliott fight. He's wild. He's got his own thing going on, kind of like Dominic Cruz or Clay Guida or whatever. His fighting style doesn't make too much sense to anybody but him, but he's a damn good fighter. And you know, he knows what he's doing. He can get wild sometimes, which is why he's been tapped a few different times, engaging in a wild fight with a guy like Brandon Royval. That's much more dangerous than engaging in a wild fight with somebody like Louis Smolka. You know, even though he's a scrappy, wily guy, Tim Elliott was able to win, to control him throughout that fight. But that's Tim Elliott's strength. He's a wrestler. If he can take you down, he's going to have success. He's not a perfect fighter, not a perfect wrestler either. But with his energy and his striking acumen combined with his wrestling prowess, he's definitely a problem for any flyweight, really. Yeah, I think he can make anybody, he can test anybody, and he can probably beat anybody. I always go back to that Demetrius Johnson fight. Tim Elliott did win the Ultimate Fighter, season 25, I believe, and got that title shot against Mighty Mouse. And he took a round and a half from him, knocked him down, almost tapped him out, but then kind of, ended up being the nail for the rest of that fight. Still, Tim Elliott, he's always been a capable guy. His losses are all to excellent fighters. He does have 12 losses, as I said. Just 1 TKO, 5 submissions, and 6 decisions. The TKO, I think, comes early in his career. I didn't even write it down. And the submissions come to Brandon Royval, Davison Figueiredo, Ben Win, if you remember him, Joseph Benavidez. And even before he got to the UFC, he lost to Shane Howell, future UFC guy. But again, despite only losing to really good guys, he is submittable. It is something it's been pretty consistent throughout his career. His chin, even though he's been knocked out once before he got to the UFC or TKO'd, his chin's been pretty strong for him. He has been knocked down a few times in recent fights, but still, he hasn't gone down. And his work rate when, he's not compromised or being put into a razor-tight guillotine choke, it's always there for him, his work rate. His last win was incredible over Tagir Ulanbekov. Very close fight, but I thought Tim Elliott won. And he just put together a great wrestle-boxer game plan for the first 2 rounds. And wrestle-boxer makes him sound so conventional, like Cody Stamann. He's the exact opposite of that. Again, frenetic energy. Victor Altrimirano, he's a guy that he's pretty well-rounded, jack-of-all-trades type of fighter. We've seen him engage in some really close, fun, back-and-forth fights. I think he lost to Carlos Hernandez by split decision in the UFC. Oh, no, I think that was on the Contender Series. I've seen that fight like a few times. I know Hernandez has the red trunks, I believe. But either way, that was a very close fight. I did think Hernandez won, but you can argue Victor Altrimirano won. He does have a really good work rate. Never seen him slow down. He's only been defeated twice, once by decision to Hernandez and once by submission to Jared Brooks, rear naked choke in round 2. Jared Brooks is an excellent fighter. He's a guy who came and went in the UFC, but he's still, in my opinion, one of the top fighters outside the UFC and could easily come in and kick some serious ass. And also he got knocked out. His 2 losses come one by knockout where he slammed Jose Shorty Torres, who has a win over Amir Albazi headlining this event. And the other loss comes to a very close decision, split decision to Davison Figueiredo. So that guy's very good, Jared Brooks. But anyway, Victor Altrimirano, he's got a pretty damn good record himself. No shame in that loss to Jared Brooks, and the Carlos Hernandez fight was razor thin. In the UFC, we've seen him beat recently Vinicius Salvador by unanimous decision. And that wasn't, I guess, domination, but he looked damn good in it. You know, not as good as he looked against Daniel Lacerda. He got that first-round TKO over Daniel Lacerda, but that's how Lacerda fights go. Victor Altrimirano, though, he's a scrapper. I think I envision a lot of his fights, including this one, being 3-round fights in which both guys have success. I think it's going to be like his Carlos Hernandez fight or Carlos Candelario fight, where it's a battle. Both guys are taken down. It's a matter of who's got more control time. And on the feet, it's a scrap. And I'm picking Tim Elliott to win. I just think in a fight like that, with takedowns being available for both guys, which I expect them to be, Tim Elliott's going to be finding more takedowns. He's got really smooth entries, really crafty guy. I think he's going to be able to make Victor Altrimirano guess with some striking, and he's going to shoot his way in. And in general, I think his wrestling will carry him to a victory. He's not completely out of the fight there, because Victor Altrimirano is no slouch on the ground. He's got 4 submissions, but in his 12 victories. But I do think Tim Elliott is good enough to not get submitted by Victor, who doesn't have one real solid submission victory in those 4 wins. He's got 1 win over a nice guy, a good solid regional fighter with a good amount of experience. But every other fighter, it was all dog shit. And I think Tim Elliott is going to win this fight with control. That's my prediction. So Tim Elliott by decision is the pick. Not betting on this fight. You can get him at decision at -125 or bet on his money line at -175. As confident as I am in him, I'm not confident enough to bet on him at those odds. So that's where I stand. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit. Check out my other videos.